Hello, my name is Dr. Richard Trammel, and I am the lead sports psychology consultant for Level 3 Sports. I have a very unique insight into the game of golf. Before I became a sports psychology consultant, I actually played the game professionally on tour for many years. After my playing days were over, I went into the teaching side of the sport, and I've been teaching the game of golf for almost 30 years. I always used golf training products when I was teaching my students how to swing a golf club. And in 1996, I established my first internet company, Shot Savers Golf, and I sold golf training products all over the world. So Shot Savers ran from 1996 until about 2007. So during the life of the company, I manufactured and invented 15 golf training products. After that, I went back to college, and I was interested in understanding how the mind of the successful athlete worked as opposed to an equally talented person that just didn't have the ability mentally to take his game or her game up to the highest level of potential. When I went into college, I didn't know what it was called. However, shortly afterwards, I figured it out. It was called sport and exercise psychology. So 9 years of school and graduate school, I finished my doctorate in sport and performance psychology. And because of those credentials, academically, professionally, and athletically, I may be the most qualified person in the entire world to help you understand how to get rid of one of the most terrible things that can happen to any golfer playing the game, the yips. I have studied this thing from top to bottom to try to understand what is the yips, where does it come from, but most importantly, how to get rid of it. When I was in graduate school, I did some research on the neurological processes that go on in the mind of a player that has the yips. Where does it come from? I mean, are certain situations that cause the yips? Is it due to pressure or anxiety? Maybe it's just age. I don't know. But the most important thing I found during my research is where it happens for the right-handed player, and then what happens into the stroke or the stroke of the player that is experiencing the yips, suffering with the yips. The reason I was so passionate about it was because about 5 or 6 years ago, it happened to me. I could not believe what I was going through. One day I'm on the practice screen now, not in a competition, not a bunch of money on the line. All of a sudden, my hands just start to jerk in front of me. The putter dragged back, stopped and dragged back. Like, what in the world? I didn't think anything of it. So that was the beginning of it for me. I thought at that time, this can't be happening to me, right? I mean, I've got all of my faculties. I mean, my gosh, I'm in graduate school. I'm using my mind every single day. It's not like I've got something going wrong with me degeneratively in my brain, but nevertheless, it happened. So yes, I suffered and was suffering from early stages of the yips. And this happened about, like I said, 5 or 6 years ago. And that is what motivated me to go into the actual research. Had other researchers done experiments on players like myself to try to figure out where does this thing come from? And do we have anything in common? I was looking for the common denominators between all of the people that were in these experimental groups. Did they have something in common? And found out that many of them did. What I found was that the yips, at least for the right-handed player, it happens in the right hand. It always seems to happen in the right hand. Have you ever wondered why people with the yips, many of them anyway, they go left hand low? I think this is part of the reason. I tried it and it worked to an extent, but it wasn't the cure that I was looking for. It wasn't the final product that at least I was looking for. So I went left hand low for a while. It worked a little bit, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And plus I had been putting that way, the regular putting grip for, gosh, decades. And I knew then this was going to be a long road for me. And it's really, I just really didn't feel like going down this road. So you know what I did? Many of you have probably done the same thing. I went to the broom handle putter. At first I couldn't believe that I was going to be doing this. So I went with the mid-size putter first, trying to put it in my belly, the belly putter first. That was no good. I could not do that. So I went to the broom handle, and you know what? I started having a little bit of success with that thing, but I couldn't understand the science behind it yet until I got back to the research. So what I found was I was a player that used just the common reverse overlap grip. And so I was always taught this makes the hands act as one unit. Well, if the yips for the right-handed player was in the right hand, this is where the initiation was, then separating the hands then again contradicted what I had been taught all of my life. So by separating my hands then, it then allowed the right arm then, not so much in the hand, but the arm just to go back and forth. However, I still had some remnants of the yips. So I kept digging into the research, kept doing my own experiments. I was my one-man experiment until finally I found what I was looking for. And now I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you in this video or in this thumb drive. At least for me, I found the cure to my yips. And it is rooted in the neurological cognitive gap. The yips is a terrible thing to have. I mean, horrible. Certainly if you have it, you'll do almost anything to get rid of it. And it is not buying another putter, and it's not doing a claw or anything like that. You can go back to your old putter, go back to the old George Low, go back to the old ping answer, go back to the overlap grip. I have found a solution, at least for me, that I am confident will work for you. So try out my method. I call it the No Yip. Let me know what you think and give me your feedback. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this little clip, and good golfing.